Hello, everyone. It's time for the ReQuest. It is I, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is Austin, the Day Ghost.
What's up?
We're a little late on ReQuest. It's been a few weeks. We had Spooky Mania, and then things fell through last week, but we're finally back, so apologies to requesters for the long wait. But tonight we're going to finally tackle Adolescence, which is really recent and was, of course, a great deal more recent when it was requested. Josh Doolittle asked for this earlier in the year. Austin probably like right after it came out.
That sounds about right. Because Josh does a lot of that. Like he'll read something and then watch something and then like request it as soon as he's done. Like, oh, I just looked at this. I'm gonna see what they think of it.
At the point that we finally get to it, he's probably like, I'm on to these other things. I don't even care about that anymore. Why can't you talk about this when I was still looking at this thing?
Well, to the point where the other day you're like, oh, we have to do this on request at some point. I was like, Josh requested that because he just told me he reread that book.
Because you had just talked to him about it, yeah.
Exactly.
I miss hanging out in the Discord. I don't jump in there very often because I'll get sucked down a rabbit hole and not pay attention to my children. And I have lots of those, so...
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's too bad. I know he's going to see Running Man right now, so he's not going to get to see it live, but I'm sure he'll be happy to see it after.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that was out this week. Man, we did not get our ducks in a row for Running Man. Because we talked about doing...
No.
We still should at some point, but we talked about finally doing a commentary for the original. And I hesitate to even call that new movie a remake of that, because it looks like it's just approaching that source material in a completely different way, which I massively respect. Like, they look like two totally different things.
See, I feel like they're splitting the difference.
Oh, maybe they are.
I could be wrong. Like, that's just what I got from the trailers, is that it looks like more of the book's premise, but more of the tone of the original film.
Okay. I mean, like, some comedy, certainly, but it looked a lot more, I don't know, over the top in a different way. I mean, I see where you're coming from. Neither one of them is purporting to be, like, horror movies or anything.
Yeah.
But neither is that book. I mean, that is a straight-up dystopian science fiction novel.
Yeah, exactly. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, I don't think this is going to have the dark ending that book does.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll have to talk about that and decide if we want to review it, because I am curious to go see that, but I need to find time to watch the original again over the weekend. Let's go ahead and talk about Adolescence. This is a 4-part limited miniseries this is a British production that was made for Netflix, and like I said, it came out earlier this year. It was nominated for a whole bunch of Emmys. This was a huge show. Like massively critically acclaimed. Nearly everybody that reviewed this loved it. Like I said, nominated for lots of Emmys. Won Best Limited Series. That might be the only one it won, but I know it did win that. That would be the big important one for it, I guess. And it's a show that was watched by some 30 million people, and I think is ranked in like the top 10 like all-time Netflix viewed shows.
Yeah, just one of those moments where like Netflix hits it.
And the question is, how much of that, I mean, there's a lot of word of mouth that happens with a thing like this. And the question is, how much of its popularity is perceived importance of subject matter? Like, just, hitting the time that it hits, and how much of it is the way it's shot, like the visual conceit of the show. Because there is a
bit of both.
Yeah, because there's a real kind of heaviness, weightiness to the show, and then there's also this kind of novelty to it. So it's able to kind of grab you in both directions, where it feels really important, like it really matters, and it also is a fascinating technical achievement.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important to note that there is one very loose connection between tonight's show and tomorrow's show, which is that one of the main actors, who's also one of the main writers, who's also one of like the creators of the show, is Toxin in the Venom movies.
Oh, weird! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's like a very loose connection between Sony nonsense and the show.
Well, and I didn't recognize one actor from this, and some of that's Britain, and some of that is a lot of unknowns working in this,
Mhm.
or I should say, unknown for film. Like there's some stage actors that were pulled in for this that like work a lot, but not in anything we would have ever seen.
Yeah, he was the only one. That's Stephen Graham. I was like instantly like, oh, I know this guy from Pirates 4 and 5.
Who
And
is he
then
in
I
the
also
show?
remembered he's the dad.
Oh, okay.
And then he's also in the Venom movies. Well, the sequels.
Okay. Well, I'll recognize him immediately when I go back to the Venom movies, but I did not catch that when I was looking at this. He's spectacular in this.
He's really good. Yeah, absolutely.
Like hurt
No,
your
there was a
feelings,
point where
but
I
the best
joked to
performances in
myself.
the show all kind of hurt your feelings.
No, there was a point where I joked to myself because, like I said, he's one of the co-creators and co-writers of this, and I joked to myself that like he did this out of spite for being in the Venom movies. He was like, "Okay, I'm turning around. I'm gonna make like a great piece of television after this."
I want to be in something that people are not going to forget about 5 seconds later, or that if they remember it, it's not going to be because of how bafflingly terrible it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So the novelty I was referring to, of course, if you've not seen the show, is so I say, of course, if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Is that each episode is shot in a oneer, and I knew about that going in. I had heard that, and I wondered if it was like cheating oneer, so we never cut. It's one moving dolly shot through the entire thing for each episode. So the two big questions I had was, does it cheat like Birdman? And the second thing was, is it like 24 where it's real time all the way through, where we're watching 4 hours? Or how does that work? And it turns out that each episode there's a time jump. And so it is serialized and episodic at the same time. And I really like that choice. I like the kind of snapshot uh, sort of effect that the show has, where you're kind of telling uh, four kind of in its way mini stories to create one larger narrative, because each part will focus on a different character or a different kind of set of characters, and so we're continuing to develop and progress the main narrative of this kid who has allegedly, and spoilers, turns out has killed this this girl that he goes to school with, but then we keep kind of handing off to different characters uh, that are dealing with all of this, either investigating or a family that's affected, whoever it is, and then we use all of that to explore the kind of social implications and ramifications of the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. And as for like the Wonder thing, I assume that it's you know cut together.
It
That's
is.
just
It
my
is.
assumption.
I looked into this. It is in fact not. So,
Wow.
which
Okay.
is amazing. Yeah. So there is a list, and I'll read it off to you. Of which take we're looking at for each episode, and it's
Huh.
and it's cool. So what they did was, so you remember how I said to you earlier today, Austin, I figured they probably did a lot more rehearsing with the show than you typically get for television. Each episode
Mhm.
takes 3 weeks to make, and a lot of
Yeah.
that is rehearsal, and then they shoot it uh like uh this says around 10 times, although when I read this out, we'll find it's definitely more than that, because some of these you're looking at takes that are later than that. So I don't know why it says that. It's more than 10.
Maybe it's average. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. But apparently they shot each time they did it. Once they got to the shooting stage, they did 2 takes each day, and so they did like over a week of shooting multiple takes after they did a ton of
Okay.
rehearsals. And they did rehearsals with once like all the actors had their act together, then they would do rehearsals with figuring out how the camera was going to move. and then they just shot it twice a day until they thought they had enough to work with. And so the first episode, which is the most impressive thing to me with this list, Austin, you're looking at the second take.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like in some ways that first episode would be the hardest thing to get because it's so procedural and technical. They got that on the second take?
I was gonna say I feel like that'd be one of the easier ones, but
think about all the moving parts.
3 is probably the easiest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in some ways 4 is the hardest just for timing. And we'll talk about all these, and because man, I'm getting ahead of myself, but the most impressive thing in all of this, just with the Wonder thing to me, was timing out the conversations in the car in that 4th episode. Like, that's nuts. It's like, this is exactly when this conversation ends. When they physically drive all the way to a store. That's crazy.
Well, that and the one that really hit me just on this being a oneer is that the camera has to show the van, turn to them. Somebody would have to then put some sort of mount on the van for them to put the camera on, and then for it to glide and be like placed on for it to start driving. Yeah.
Well, the way that's shot, I would like to know more about this. I hope there's like a behind the scenes feature that gets put out or is out. I didn't look, but I gotta look closer at that scene, Austin, because I really don't think that camera is mounted on the hood of that car because of the way it moves. Like it bounces a bit, and not like it would just sitting on a car, but more like somebody's holding it. And that makes me think that they put it somehow got it into another vehicle without us knowing that. And then that vehicle is following, or like the car is following this other vehicle with the camera out the back.
Unless you have...
That's how I thought they shot it.
Attached to another car that's pulling it, which could very well be
That's
true.
Also... Oh, that's possible. Like pulling it, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I thought that was amazing work. And this suggests that was the hardest episode because they got the last episode on the 16th take.
Oh, so yeah, that makes sense.
And the second episode, they got on the 13th take, and the third episode they got on the 12th take. So I just think it's amazing any of these were watching the second take.
And what are they talking about then in 10 takes?
10 takes!
All of them except for one were above 10.
Yeah, I mean, always take Wiki with a grain of salt, but, like, I'm sure the take numbers are right, but usually 10 takes, so that doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah.
Get out of here with that.
What are we doing?
Well, Austin, give us a brief rundown about what happens in this show.
Yeah, so a boy did murder a girl at his school, and episode 1 is the day of the arrest. They go and they arrest him, and we follow the ins and outs of the police station where he gets his lawyer, and we get to see his parents and the cops interacting with him. Episode 2 is 3 days later, and the cops are investigating at his school, talking to the other students. Episode 3 is, 6 months later?
7 months.
7 months,
yeah,
okay.
So episode 1 is day 1, episode 2 is day 3, 3 is month 7, and then, 4 is month 13. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 3 was the only one I wasn't sure about the exact time. Yeah, so 3 is 7 months later, and it's the kid having an evaluation to see that, he's like inept, or not inept, and like can understand what he's going through. And then
to
episode
stand
4,
trial, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. And then episode 4 is the family living in the aftermath in month 13.
Yeah, and that was kind of the most surprising thing to me, is that you get to that 4th episode and it's focused entirely on that family. When that opened, I was like, I don't know how this is your last episode. Because I was imagining it'd be really easy to stretch this to 5 or 6 now. Because now we're just gonna see kind of the aftermath of what they've been going through, and of course, like their son is infamous now, and how are they dealing with the neighbors and all of that. That whole thing is kind of heartbreaking, but. I spent half that episode going, I don't know how we're going to get any like progression or information about what is happening with the grander narrative with the kid. And Austin, were you surprised that this show does no courtroom drama?
Yeah, so I didn't know, obviously, going into each episode what they were going to be. I didn't read the little blurb on Netflix or
Yeah,
whatever.
I didn't either. I let myself be surprised.
So,
but I really thought that last episode would have to be courtroom drama, and it's not.
no, that was what I thought too. And then when we opened with the family, I was like, oh, okay, now they're going to drive to the courtroom. And then when
Yeah.
that didn't happen, I was like, oh, okay.
Well, pretty
I get what
quickly
we're
we knew it
doing now.
wouldn't though, because it opens with, "Oh, it's my birthday, and we're gonna have like a fun birthday," and I was like, "Okay, well, it can't be the trial day then."
Mm-hmm. You can weasel that in. We're gonna have a fun birthday. Oh, hold on, we can go to the trial.
We forgot. Wait, what day is it? We forgot.
Oh no, the jury is deciding today.
They handled this a lot more believably than that, Austin.
No, exactly. No, and that was part of just my realization of like, oh, but it's not really about that. Like, it's more each episode is about the aftermath from some other group or person, and it's not so much about like, did the kid do it or anything like that. So that's when I realized, like, oh yeah, we don't really need to see the trial. Like,
No, you're right. Absolutely not. I just figured they would.
no, this is British TV. They're like, you can do this in 4 episodes.
No, that's true. Well, it's it's funny you say that because it's obviously it really takes its time in exploring these characters, and it feels kind of slow, but not in a bad way, just because you're seeing every minute detail within the hour of what you're looking at. It's like 24 if they weren't able to cheat in having subplots. Because it's like, let's do 24, but let's have the added complication of you can't cut, and the only way you can go to other characters is to do a handoff. And so, like, it's kind of impressive that they keep it, in my opinion anyway, as interesting, if not entertaining, as they managed to through that. But what I was going to say is, it's really efficient in how it tells its story in only 4 hours. But it's like, it's only 4 hours, but it's also a whole 4 hours. Like, it's slow and lengthy, but then when you backtrack and you look at how much it gets done, it's impressive it does it in 4 hours.
Well, and for me, it's really weird. It's like the reverse what people say with the Star Trek things. And I'm not saying that some of the episodes are bad. Like, I thought it was overall good. But I thought episodes 1 and 3 were like complete time vortexes. Where like I looked at the timestamp at a certain point and went like, oh man, I thought I was like 10 minutes in, I'm 40.
Have I been here this long?
Have I been here this long?
But you didn't have that for the other two.
I didn't have that for 2 and 4, which I think makes sense just based on what they're doing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more going around, and there's a lot more just kind of living in what's happening. Whereas 1 and 3 are very like punchy, I thought.
Yeah, and that feels by design. Like it's
I agree.
It's really keeping up with its pacing. Like I think the pacing is pretty deliberate. And with streaming stuff, we talk a lot about deliberate pacing, which very often ends up being code for decompression, which is not really what this is. But you make a good point, Austin, because I think the reason the 2 episodes that you found slower are that way is because there's so much like tense, either sitting in one room or sitting with a couple of people.
Yeah, well, I think too it really gets you in the heads of the characters because it's like episode 1, the cops come and they break down the door and they like take the kid out and like now he's got a lawyer and now he's got to like do these interviews, and it like really puts you in their head, at least for me, in that feeling, and that it's like, oh my god, this is such a blur, like this is all just happening, and not in like a way where I'm overwhelmed watching it, but in that like the pacing helps me to feel what they're feeling, and then 2 and 4 work the other way, where especially in 4, you know, like they have to like live with this awful thing, and it's like there's no escape from it, and like it feels overwhelming like at the same time, you know what I mean, and it like puts me in that headspace now.
Yeah, and that's ironic because there's not actually anything happening then, but there's so much
Mhm.
happening for them because of
But it's just so overwhelming, yeah,
yeah.
like, and just
Well,
thinking about the implications of things,
yeah, that's what I
like
was gonna say is because that's where they learn in the last like 15 minutes when he calls them in the car that he's changed his plea to guilty, and then it's all introspection. Should we have worked harder? Are we bad parents?
mhm. Well, yeah, and like even before that, just like you know, he goes outside and like his van's been vandalized, so he's got to go down to like the store and like get, you know, paint to like fix his van and like all this stuff, and it's just like during all this, there's just like this dread of like, oh, it's just like the rest of life now, you know.
Yeah,
And at the same time, like it feels like I'm stuck there. Like there's no escape out of that. Like it's just we're stuck here.
I that third episode, or sorry, yeah, that third episode is kind of like if because that's when he's with the forensic psychologist, right? Uh,
Mhm.
that's like if you took the interrogation scene from the first episode that's like I think a full 12 or 13 minutes and made it the whole episode because
Mhm.
you do kind of slow down at some point in that first episode where now we're finally just in this room or before like we're walking through this facility and we're seeing uh, every grueling moment that he has to go through and being processed. And by the way, there was something really effective about that all being done in real time. Because while you're going, oh God, how 40 minutes already passed, I actually kept looking at the clock going, do I buy that we're where we would be like at this time if this was really happening to this kid? Because I realized, yeah, about 15 minutes in, oh, we've not cut anywhere. There's been no time skip. Like I knew this was supposed to be like a big wonder show, but momentarily I wasn't thinking about that. And I was like, oh wait, there's been no cutting at all. So like forgetting driving times or whatever. Like am I buying that at the let's say where you were at the 40-minute mark this kid has gotten like pulled out of bed by these cops, the cops have ransacked his parents' place, they've argued with the parents, all of that, all the way to he's now being fingerprinted. And I just kept looking at the clock and I was like, this all feels like, not that I've ever been through this, but it feels like it's tracking, like I'm buying all of this.
Well, I feel like there's like a built-in joke with that when the lawyer walks in and he's like, "Ah, it was my best time. I broke my record."
I forgot about that. That's great.
So I was like, "Oh, it's like a bit of a wink and a nod that, like, yeah, it probably wouldn't be this fast."
I also think that first episode does a really good job of setting you up for, even though it's with this Wonder format, so immediately it feels like something kind of fresh and different. Not that we've never seen things that have attempted the whole Wonder thing, but it's got this kind of real life, almost documentary feel at the same time as feeling pretty procedural at the start, right? Where uh, if you expected the whole show to be like that first episode, you'd think, okay, this whole thing is going to be this investigating procedural where these cops are going to try to figure out whether or not this kid did it, and it like progressively becomes less of that show as it goes along, and it's kind of dropping breadcrumbs and giving you more of a sense of what the thing is really about, particularly with that interrogation scene at the end of the first episode, and then with the big hook with, oh, we have actual video evidence that he did it, and we're not going to have to question the rest of the show whether he did it, even while you have his parents going, well, yeah, I mean, he couldn't possibly have, but in the back of the dad's mind, like he recoils at the end of that first episode when the kid tries to hug him because he knows he did it. And so then after that, like it's like OJ Simpson. We don't have to question it, except there wasn't any, video footage there. I wish there was. But
Well, and OJ never found the guy who did it.
right, yeah. Well, and this
Uh,
kid kind of like with that, I I'm not going to spend this whole time comparing this to the OJ case. But just like with that, the kid claims that he didn't do it and then offers no alternative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and there's video footage, so he had to.
He's a child.
What's that?
At least he's a child, not a fully grown man.
Yeah, no, it's more understandable in this case. Like, it's more believable in this case, I should say. But the other thing that really subverts our expectations is we spend that entire first episode being acclimated to this kid and arguably really sympathizing with him. Like this, he feels like the total victim through that first episode until we realize that for sure he must have done it. And then, of course, way through the whole show, obviously he did a horrible thing and has to be behind bars. But he's 13. The kid is a victim of the society that he lives in, and in his own way he also continues to be a victim. So he's dictionary definition sympathetic, but obviously there's something really disturbed there. And so the whole show, I continue to care about that kid even while my opinion of him has changed.
Mm-hmm. When just going off the ending of the first episode, I think one of the biggest strengths for me was the parallel of the ending of episode 1 and episode 2, where one of them is, a father and his son's relationship completely falling apart, and then the other is the flip around of that. And I thought that was really effective, and they never really draw that much attention to it. It's just a natural thing that happens. But I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. It suggests that a lot of these boys are dealing with the same challenges, and both at school and at home, and having a lot of the same problems. And then it's up to us to try to determine why some of them go the way this kid did and some of them don't. I thought. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing, and they really point a finger to it, the kind of absentee, and not even necessarily, intentional absentee parenting, but just you're out for long periods of time as a parent. You know what I mean? And I really liked that.
That spoke to me hard, and there's a couple of things that did. So. There's 15 things I want to talk about right now. I'll speak to that first. So the absentee parent thing, I think probably the more accurate way to put it is ignorant parenting. And I think the show really highlights that, both with Jamie's parents and with the black cop's kid, because there's this sense, and this is just the reality we live in. It's really like this, I think. That whole generation, I guess at this point that's my generation. Because these parents would probably be in their mid 40s, early 50s. We're not even talking about my parents at this point. We're talking about probably my generation. Because I've got a kid older than the main kid in the show, so I'm the old people in the show. That's unusual for me. I haven't gotten to experience this very much yet in my life as I'm getting older and I'm middle aged. I'm actually the older, out of touch parents in this situation.
Yeah, it's a real moment, eh? I had that when I saw Shang-Chi, and it was oh my god, this character's the same age as me. I don't know if I like that.
So anyway, what I was gonna say is, I really appreciated the revelation that the cop comes to in the second episode of the incel thing, and kids communicating on social media via emojis. Because that is a whole world that my generation does not now nor will ever understand. We don't live in it. Even if we're online, even a lot of people my age or older that are chronically online do not get that whole thing. And like I felt like I was getting an education on some of this stuff. And so when I say ignorant parenting, I mean some of it is parents that just aren't like. I don't want to give these people a pass, like too hard of a pass. I don't think we're looking with Jamie's parents as horrible parents, and they're even more sympathetic because of how much introspection they have at the end of the show when they go, oh wow, we didn't pay enough attention to our kid. Like we are partially at fault here, maybe. And I was like, well, good on you for at least having some accountability, right? But I think there are a lot of parents that think that they're paying enough attention to what their children are doing, and they're looking at it too much like when I was growing up, where if I in high school was in my bedroom till 1 in the morning before I went to bed, the worst thing I could get into was like I don't know, like if I brought the phone in my room, calling up a friend and talking to that person all night, or like sneaking in the wrong kind of magazines or whatever. But or like if you had a TV in your room, whatever you might be watching on television. But like I never even had a computer in my room. Like all the way through high school, I had to leave the room to go get into to go online to look at anything. So I think there's this naivety to, well, he's fine. He's just in his room.
Mm-hmm. And I was this kid's age, 13, when I got a laptop, and I was, staying up late watching Geekvolution videos and getting in trouble for it. And look how I turned out.
Me sitting here ruining your childhood. That's spectacular.
Here I am.
I love that I got to be that for somebody. That makes me happy. And then now you're on the channel, and unfortunately, we have no children watching anymore, so we can't ruin them now.
Exactly. Being on Geekvolution is like having committed murder. It ruined my life.
There's a lot of worse things you could have been watching. But what so one of the big things I got out of this, and I feel like this is a show that's going to say different things to different people, especially when it comes to social political stuff. And I'm not going to get real deep into political stuff, of course. I just want to review this as a story as much as possible. But I think when it gets into like the questions about how like young boys looking at certain like social media accounts and things are experiencing and appreciating masculinity and all of that. That is that's the big thing everybody's talking about with the show, and is the big thing a lot of people are getting out of it is look at the things that can radicalize boys in this particular direction, and that's part of the focus. And I had heard that, and I was surprised by how much it wasn't just about that. Because so here's how this show really spoke to me. The first episode, like I said, watches real procedural and is just setting up what this kid did, and then the next 3 episodes are each, in my mind, exploring a different aspect of what influenced this kid to get him there. And so that second episode is everything wrong with the public school system. And I'm just like cheering this thing on, going, thank God something finally that I've seen depicted that the way it is now, and highlighted how freaking messed up and awful public school institutions tend to be now. I really appreciated that because it's just true. And then I am getting political. Apologies, but I appreciated that. But like that's a huge important aspect of it, right? And that touches on the social media thing. but it's exploring school more. The third episode gets more into the social media thing, and then the fourth episode is ignorant and absentee parents, and like those are the three, like the trifecta uh, that I think skews reality for teenagers, and that just seemed correct to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like you said, it is definitely about like a couple different things. You can kind of look at it through different lenses. Like I also saw it as, episode one kind of sets everything in place. Episode two is, this kind of trauma in this neighborhood through like the kids' eyes and how it affects the kids in school. Then the second one, then the third episode is the kid himself, and then like the family afterwards. So yeah, absolutely. You can kind of look at it in different ways, I think, and especially like the more like internet-y stuff could have been so cringy under lesser hands. But I think they do a really good job of like kind of riding the line and making it believable and not sounding like a 50-year-old writing teenagers.
Yeah, or just oversimplifying the whole thing and pointing a finger in one direction. Which
Yeah.
I've heard people talk about the show like that's what it's doing, and that's honestly not what I experienced with it. I have to say, it helps that I we see both social media and the public school system affecting a lot of different people in negative ways, and not just this kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, that school's falling apart. The big thing I had watching that episode was like, I hope this is what that new Carrie show looks like.
Oh God, I don't think I can handle it. I don't think I can watch that for episodes on end.
Yeah, exactly.
What I found really believable about that is you could see what that school used to be and what it's degenerated into. Like they still make all the kids wear school uniforms, but none of the and they still have all the kids referring to their teachers as Miss and Misters. So there's this like relic um of authority and of respect for authority, but you don't actually see it in any of the kids, and the adults aren't allowed to discipline in any way whatsoever, and so they're all just like yelling a lot and acting really stern, but they can't back up anything.
They do throw some kids though. I was like, oh,
wait, where does that happen? They threw kids?
Yeah, when they're fighting, they like grab them and they're like, whoa, and they like throw them around. I was like, oh.
Was it not just the cops doing that? Was that like actual teachers?
No, it was the teachers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if there's any schools over there that are actually allowing that, I respect that, because I hear a lot of horror stories. I've gone down rabbit holes about current public school, and not everything is the same, obviously, but I hear a lot of horror stories about it's really dangerous. There's fights every day. The adults aren't allowed to put hands on the kids, even if they're hitting each other. It's just nuts. And this reflected a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's very depressing. But it also watched like just a really, and the whole show was like this, just really complex issues that there's no easy answer for because of how bad certain things have gotten. And I don't know, I sound really horribly unhopeful when I say that, but it just feels like the truth, and the show is kind of mining that. So I appreciated that. I like that I like that nobody's vilified fully, and nobody is made like a perfect angel either. I like the girl that is murdered, I is not I obviously didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. But like she did some pretty awful things. Like it's not I it's not making anybody perfect to make somebody else look worse is what I'm saying. And that was part of the credibility in it.
Yeah. No, I mean she is like a bully, but at the same time, I think episode 3 like really kind of washes their hands with some of that stuff, where it's not exactly cut and dry. Like she is more in the right, and where it was more like she started being mean to him after like everyone was bullying her, which was part of what he did to like manipulate
Oh,
her,
that's true too.
and then you also have a thing with episode 3 where I think a lot of that is justification, where it's like, I did this bad thing, but look, she's a bad person, okay? Like that's what I want to lay down,
Yeah.
which I think is part of what's interesting about episode 3, is that it's like two people trying to like kind of manipulate each other to some degree, where one of them is trying to get kind of this evaluation and have the answers out, and the other one is both uh, looking for validation and also trying to come across kind of different than what they actually are.
Yeah, that's a real kind of chess game, and it's impressive with a 13-year-old kid and with a child actor that's that good. And that
Yeah.
also could have been played a lot more uh, sensationalist and over the top, because I think it would be really easy to look at that episode and go, "We're getting into the mind of a killer, or even like a potential serial killer." This is not the psychopath kid that grew up torturing animals. Like this is a kid whose reality has been totally skewed by uh, being chronically online and by like being both bullied at school and bullying people at school. Like he just doesn't look at the real world as it is. He's been radicalized, and he is like taken himself to a point where he hardly looks at uh, women as people. And if you had no social media, he would not have been raised like that. Like that wouldn't have happened. So this is a kid that starts as a perfectly normal kid. Like I think it's important to note that. That you're not looking at this. This is not that show about the like crazy insane kid, and you wonder how somebody could just be born evil. Like he's not an evil kid. He's
Hmm.
been led massively astray, and that's why I say he remains somewhat sympathetic. And then the question I had was, once he gets to uh, that conversation with the psychologist, uh, how much has his worldview been skewed even more for being in that facility as long as he's been?
Maybe. There's definitely some of it, with him kind of talking about how he's in like the crazies kind of detention center. Uh, but it does definitely feel like, oh, he's got like his world point, skewed from being online,
Yeah.
and it's like really messed with this period in like a kid's life where they're trying to figure out who they are at the same time. And I think that's why it like ultimately breaks down into that point of like just looking for validation, where it's like, will you understand like she was a bad person, right? Will you understand like this? Like you understand like I'm not like a bad person, right? And it becomes very much about that, and it's very sad because you are watching like a kid, like a very normal kid thing to have, but it's so warped.
Yeah, and then like I said, it's just that combination of three unfortunate things.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
You know, like the social media by itself doesn't do it because if the parents are more involved, they can curb that.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
it's
if the
part of that.
teachers are allowed
There's
to do,
always
and
the warning
if
signs.
the teachers are allowed to do their jobs, they can curb it
Hmm.
or help.
Yeah, no, it's very much part of that warning signs thing, where especially like from the kids' perspectives, where like they all kind of get it because they just see everything for what it is. Well, it's like these adults that are all like around and in the lives of all of them don't like they're just kind of ignorant to all of it, and it just pushes forward.
Well, that's another thing I appreciated about it too is that the kids are able to, uh, without even really trying very very much. I mean, I think this kid is actually kind of calculated about it, so it's something that maybe he's doing harder than some other people, especially once he's murdered someone. But I think I a lot of these kids are able to look like to have a whole other side of themselves that they show their parents, and they can be one thing online and one thing with their peers and then something else to their parents. Jamie's parents think that he's like this completely perfect angel innocent kid. They don't even realize that he is looking at pornography, that he is like as sexually interested as he is at 13. Like they don't see that side of him at all, and they're kind of infantilizing him. And you even kind of get that at the end with the way his bedroom is still set up, and the dad with the teddy bear and all of that. Like they still kind of see him as 7 years old.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
John
No, that's
Ty,
part of what was
sorry,
so. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
uh, John Ty puts in a $5 super chat. Why do you think the sister didn't go off the deep end as her brother Jamie did? You feel that first,
So I think,
Austin.
yeah, I mean, the big like obvious answer is this show's more about this kind of thing through a masculine lens. So like it has to be from a boy's perspective. Um, and then she also we get the sense is kind of the glue of the family by the end. Uh, in like the last like couple of scenes as well. Um, so like I don't know, maybe not the most like believable, realistic answer, but like components of a working show and narrative. Like I feel like that's kind of the answer to that.
Yeah, that's the focus of the show. If you if you think like, and again, I don't want to get too deep into this, but if you think like some people have written about online, I've seen a little bit of this. This show was controversial in some circles, like everything is. Um, some people look at this as real one-sided and kind of man-hating, and I think that it's saying that the radicalization thing only goes one way, and that is what it's focused on. But like I said, I wasn't getting from it that that's the only direction that it could go, and so my answer to I, narratively, it's exactly what Austin's saying it is. Within the reality of this, and how I would interpret it if this exact thing happened in real life, and it's important to note that as believable as some of this is, and there's real life things that influenced it, it's not based on any true story, any particular true story. Um, I would say the reason she doesn't go the way he does is the simple answer is they got lucky with her. Like obviously she wouldn't have been if she were to be radicalized by something online. It wouldn't have been all the manosphere stuff, but there's other stuff that she potentially could have gone too deep into a rabbit hole on, and then been. Become an extremist in some other way. Would it have turned her into a murderer? I don't know. But the other realistic part of that is, and this is just how it is, this is not me saying obviously that I have any like anti-masculine man-hating bent with myself, but most murderers all are men. I mean, there is that. So if that's the story you're gonna tell, like it would be a lot less believable if the sister did it. Like you could tell that story, but that immediately feels like a wild. Not that that kind of thing has never happened. I don't know if a 13-year-old girl has ever done anything exactly like this. Probably there's probably one somewhere, but I'm just saying most
like the
really
Slender Man thing or whatever. But like, yeah,
most
I see
really
what you're
violent
saying.
crime is done by men. So I mean, like there is just statistically. So I'm just saying there is that. And like you said, like it's focused on masculine rage.
Mhm. Yeah, and in terms of that criticism, and I didn't look too deep into it, so I don't know what the arguments are or anything. So
Well, I
I'm
had
just
heard
gonna
that stuff
responding to.
before I really knew anything about the show. Like months ago, I heard about some of that stuff. And so like that was the initial
Mhm.
lens that I was looking at this through was, oh, this is this really controversial show about toxic masculinity. And then I watched it and I was, well, that's an oversimplification.
No, I was just gonna say, like to that. I would say it's definitely looking at like, especially like the ostracization. Oh my god, I like butchered that word, but you know what I'm saying. Of
I'm not even
like
going to
men
correct
right
it.
now, like bullying boys. Thank you, thank you. Let's just ignore it. Let's just keep going. Let's push through. Power on. Uh, and, um, like of younger boys, and like this is kind of the negative effects of what happens when that's completely ignored. And you could make a show about, how do we fix that or whatever, if you want to look at it from that perspective, which I'm sure a lot of people that would have that issue would agree with. Like that'd be an interesting take to have. I don't think it's what this show's doing. So like I don't think it's a criticism that I would lobby at this, because it's just not about that. But like you could make a show about that.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't think it's really an issue that the show's not really tackling that side of it, because it's not about that.
no. I mean, it seems to me like it's almost I and like I said, I think it speaks to different audiences differently, probably. So some of this is probably my own personal bias and my age and everything, but a lot of this feels like a show for middle-aged and older people to suggest this is how much the world has changed. Pay attention to your kids. It's different now.
Hmm.
It's just
Yeah,
different now.
exactly. Hmm. No, exactly. Like these are, some of the warning signs and the darkness that can happen. So keep your eyes open, stupid. Uh,
And I would
kind of a
love to
thing.
get a kid's perspective, or not a kid, but like a high school or an early college kid's perspective on this, because if you're looking at it from that lens, you're probably getting almost impatient, waiting for the cop to understand what's really going on with that social media stuff. If you're younger, you probably pick up on that thing a lot faster.
Hmm. One, even me watching it, I'm like, oh, I had no idea that there was like all these different meanings to things. If that's real, I was like, I know what like an incel is, obviously, and then I know that there's like other kinds of cells, but they're like throwing out like code words and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm too old for this.
I guess I can't be positive that all of that is totally true to life, but like I bought into it. The idea that there's this whole other almost secret language that Gen Gen Alpha has.
Yeah, it didn't read to me like I'm trying to think of like a good example, but like a Mazes and Monsters or something, where it's like a Dungeons and Dragons is like Satanism, or like I think, I look at my mom and I remember this is like several years ago now. She was like, "Oh, you have to be careful about kids like in their like video game chat rooms, because they're telling each other to kill themselves and then they do it." And I'm like, no, I think that's just kids like trolling each other, Mom. Like I think they just yell "kill yourself" on their calls. Like I don't think that's like some sort of weird drinking the Kool-Aid thing. So like it didn't feel like that. Where I'm like, I can tell they know what the internet is.
Well, I think it's really difficult, to be fair, especially now, to decide uh, when people are like actually seeing real, honest to God, horrifying dangers, and when we're catastrophizing.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
I think it's really
absolutely.
easy to be either too paranoid or too lax, which is a lot of
Mhm.
what the show's about.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I mean, for me, like to some degree, it was interesting seeing it where it's like a lot of the stuff was just kind of normal for me growing up, but like I just didn't see some of these aspects. Because obviously, like I'm in high school when the internet's a thing, and in middle school when the internet's a thing. So it's like I get some aspects of this, but like I said, I'm watching like Geekvolution videos. Like that's what I'm getting radicalized on the internet. See, it's like this whole like scary, dark version of some of my experiences.
Yeah, because like you were just watching people talking about stuff you like. You weren't getting sucked into politics and uh, like letting people tell you, you know, who's evil and who's not, and all of
Yeah, and
that.
I remember seeing like some cyberbullying like on Facebook or whatever. But I've also up until like probably COVID have been like a very like habitual like I just close Facebook, like shut it down or whatever for
Yeah.
a long time. It's like I would go like on and offline for long periods of time. So like I didn't have that like I'm locked in it kind of a thing that I'm sure, especially now, like with how online the world is now, I'm sure it's harder to get away from. Especially now that like every kid is like an iPhone or whatever. Like I was like kind of the last generation I feel like of kids that didn't all have phones.
Yeah, like all through high school. And that just
Mhm.
looks like a nightmare. And then this dramatizes that at that school, and it's a friggin' nightmare.
No, I remember getting my first phone in high school, and I was like, "This is awesome," because I just had a bunch of downloaded YouTube videos on it that I would watch at lunchtime. And I was like, "This is so cool," and it's like, but it can also be scary. I don't know.
So it seems like you and I both bought into this premise well enough. I wasn't sure I would, just because of some of the things I had heard about it before I went in. What would you say, Austin, to someone that can't get their head around an otherwise normal, like 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 a kid with a otherwise normal upbringing, who suddenly starts down a dark rabbit hole online, takes that all the way to murdering a person, and he's 13? Because there are some people that just aren't buying into that premise, where they're like, uh, the cases where that actually happens are more extreme than this, and I is it like some people just don't believe that a 13-year-old kid could go that far.
Yeah, to that I would just say, I mean, I feel like this is a premise as old as time. It's just updated for uh, like the social media age. Like you could easily take out the social media aspect and throw in whatever issues you were having in like the 70s, 80s, 60s, like as far back as you want. Like part of what like really jumped onto me with the parent stuff, both is just I experienced a lot of that, like a lot through most of my childhood. My mom was, a single parent and a workaholic, and like one of my favorite Godzilla films is all about this. It's one that nobody likes. It's All Monsters Attack, but I like it because I like what it has to say about parenting, and that's like a 70s movie, I think. Like, and it's saying a lot of that same stuff about just kind of parents not always being able to be there, except you don't have that social media aspect. It's more so about we're hitting a point where both parents now have to have jobs, so like they're gone and your kid's just alone. So it's like you can easily take the social media side out of it and replace it with something else for an older time. So like I don't know. I feel like people are maybe I don't know how I would describe it. Maybe just like kind of too lost in some of this stuff where it's like I don't know, maybe it's just like too real for some people and they can't look at it from like other sides because everybody's like opinionated on everything.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
So that was a really long soapbox, but
No, that's great. You know what you reminded me of when you said like put this in an earlier era and just take social media out of it, and you've still got like single parents that aren't paying enough attention to their kids. I was thinking of Sid from the 1990s, or not Sid. Sorry, he's wearing the Sid Vicious shirt. What was his name? Danny, from the 1990
oh,
Ninja Turtles movie. Remember that?
I thought you were gonna say Sid from
Toy
the
Story. Yeah.
1990s Toy Story. Yeah. Um,
I mean that
okay.
too.
No,
That kid
but
also has that problem. But and I
they
would
both
buy
do.
that he
Yeah.
would murder someone with his rockets.
Exactly. No, that's what I mean. Like this is at the end of the day a tale as old as time. It is Beauty and the Beast. Like it. We've been telling the story. We've been witnessing it in real life. You know what I mean? Like
But going this far with a murder out of nowhere with a 13-year-old. I can see why some people think that's a little too easy. Like I said, I bought into it once I saw the context of it.
yeah, and I think that's also just like that is a thing that happens. Unfortunately, like I've seen stories that are like this that are of younger kids. You know what I mean? Like I don't think
But without really
even just being
disturbed backgrounds or
yeah, and
that
like
that
also
sort of
that kind of
thing.
like online like you get too lost in something. Like that's what that Slender Man thing was with those girls, you know, where they took their friend out and stabbed them in the woods. It
That's
was
why I bought it, because of the skewed reality. Where, like I said, if this kid had never been online, that never would have happened.
yeah, or like maybe something else takes that place. Like if it's, you know, like I said, kind of before social media. But like uh no, I thought that was completely believable. It's one of those things where you don't really want to talk about it because it sucks, but like I do think stuff like this does happen.
Um, we're at about an hour. What other aspects of this did you want to touch on, Austin?
I'll just throw out the cast is like universally perfect. Like every single uh, cast member is amazing, and they all do their jobs great.
Really unusual when the person that looks like he'll be the face of the show, the kid that kills the girl, uh, doesn't even appear on screen in the last episode.
Yeah. When I had that with the cop, and then he's
Yeah,
gone after episode two.
yeah, you never see him again.
Yeah.
He and his
No,
kid
it's
right
very
off into the
believable in the
sunset.
movie.
He's finally being a parent. Good for you. Maybe your kid won't go murder someone.
It's great. Yeah, exactly. Um, some of the stuff in the last episode when the two parents are kind of talking, uh, I'm not gonna say it's like overridden because I think it's good, but I do feel like I got a lot of what they were getting at just from the ending of episode one. So it did just kind of feel like okay, we're gonna kind of describe everything I already kind of felt about it for 15 minutes.
I
That's maybe
agree
like the
with
one
that.
place where had that. But like they're doing it well. It was just more so I'm like, yeah, I kind of got all this. It kind of what it made me think of was like a Stan Lee caption where it's like I kind of got everything from the art. Like I didn't really need it spelled out,
Well, and I
but they
think,
did like a good enough job.
yeah, I was more hypersensitive to it because so much of the dialogue otherwise reads really realistic, and like what you're seeing is really happening. So the places where
Mm.
it feels like it's got to check certain like thematic and idea boxes to like make sure and drive those things home, like really jumped out at me. That's one of my only complaints about the show. Really, I'm with you. I had that at the end, and I was also like, ooh, I'm of two minds about this because I like that the parents are talking about this, but I can also see the writer on the page a little bit. And then in the second episode, there's a couple of places where I felt like the conversation with the cop and his partner, his female partner, I got a little TV procedural where it stopped feeling as realistic and a little bit more like, again, we've got to draw these ideas to the front, and it's almost like we're talking more to the audience, particularly when she's saying, I don't like that the victims names aren't known by the public, it's only the killer. I'm like, something about the way that line was like, the idea is fine, but something about the way that line was written and performed felt real TV to me. And there's like a few of those.
Yeah, I guess more than TV, just because I had that with that line, just more so, like you said, just kind of like I see the writer where it's like this is a thing that we kind of all say, but like I don't know if you would say it right then in that moment.
Yeah.
I did see somebody complain that uh, they say that, and then there isn't an episode dedicated to the kids, so like kind of also falls into those trappings. But I also feel like you could make an argument either way on that, like that's part of the point, or that they missed an opportunity with that. But I was personally fine with not having that.
Yeah, because the focus is on uh, what current societal problems lead this kid to doing
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
So you can make that point while you're focusing on him because that's part of the problem. So you're saying, I
Yeah,
like people don't think about this girl, I and then we're focusing on why. Like if we
yeah.
suddenly
What
went
I
to
think,
her family, I just feel like we'd be getting too far away from what the show's about.
yeah, and I feel like you'd run into the danger of like it actually being padded out, and like you don't really need this to get at where you're getting at. But I also think they cover their bases with the girl in the school that's the friend of the girl that got killed, where it's
Yes.
like even if you were to have that, like it's at least represented. But like I said, I was just saying that was a criticism I heard, but it didn't really bother me. But I thought I'd mention it.
Uh Yeah, that dialogue issue I rarely had, but there were a couple places where it does kind of jump out. What did you find? We could maybe close with this. What did you find to be the most impressive or just like thrilling and interesting uh, part of this like scene technically? I guess when I say scene, I mean just any section in an episode of uh the Wonder. Because I'll do mine real quick. The big one, like I said, was the timing of that conversation in four, and then almost tied with that is the foot chase at the school in that second episode. That's impressive.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. Yeah, I would say I probably just agree with both of those. And then the thing I was just kind of most impressed with overall was just episode three. I would say, like not even technically, just more so uh, that they were able to do such a strong like tete-a-tete with a child actor and a regular actor
For a full hour.
for a full hour,
We're
and
in
it
that
never gets dull.
room
Like I said, that was
almost
like
that
a
whole
time
time.
vortex episode for me. Yeah, and we're very deliberate when we leave the room, and no, it's really cool.
I yeah, I mean, it's not surprising like the show was super acclaimed, but like I walked into this a little nervous. That I wouldn't appreciate it like a lot of the rest of the universe seems to. But no, they're right. I mean, it is that good. Uh, with
When I'll do you one better, I
yeah,
walked into the show completely exhausted and I had a massive headache and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be bad." Like I hope the show's good, but like I am not in a good spot to watch this and I feel like it's going to hit me really hard and then I'm going to come onto this review and be like, "Ah, I'm sure it was fine, but like, eh." instantly gone, like just instantly hooked, and was like, okay, no, this is really well done.
Yeah, how well do you think it binges versus taking some time between episodes? I mean, obviously we binged it.
Yeah, that's a good question that I hadn't really considered, but I mean, I think because I watched it in 2 episode chunks, like I watched the first two earlier today, and then I watched the last two,
I kind of
and
did
I did.
that too. I think I
Mhm.
watched like the first 15 minutes of 3 last night and then I had to go to bed, but I
Oh,
very
okay.
nearly did that same thing. Yeah.
But I think especially 1 and 2 work really well together. Uh, and then 3 and 4 maybe aren't as united as 1 and 2 were. Like I said, I like some of the parallel stuff in the first 2 episodes. But with how kind of separated it is, it probably would be like an easy thing to just kind of jump in and out of. But it also watched well together.
Yeah, I it's kind of cool that both of those things are true. Like it's kind of a 4-hour movie, but like it's absolutely episodes. Like for
Hmm.
obvious reasons because of how the time jumps work in the real time thing. Uh but yeah, I could see doing it either way really easily.
Yeah, with that structure too, I was thinking of like a 4 issue mini or something.
Yeah.
Kind of like a for all seasons where it's like, okay, now we jump into this period and then we jump into this period, and obviously that's seasons, but like just here's a day in this point, here's a day at that point and whatnot.
Well, and even though the last 2 episodes, like you suggested, don't link up in the same way the first two do, looking at them as two halves does sort of work because a lot more of the police procedural stuff is in the first 2 episodes. And I mean, you
Mhm.
sort of have a little bit of it with just the psychologist doing her job, but the last 2 episodes are much more about that family.
That's true too, yeah. Yeah, and it's much more just about the actual kind of psychology behind it,
Yeah.
literally with 3, but
Hmm.
obviously there's that in 4.
You know who that kid reminded me of by that third episode? I didn't have it until then. He reminds me of that actor's name is on the tip of my tongue, but he reminds me of oh my god, I'm so close. I've almost got
Do you know what he's in?
yeah, I will tell you what he said, but I thought I was going to be able to get the name out. It's not. I'm not able to do it right off. God, it's right there. I the
Corey
I
Feldman.
no, the kid, and of course he's not a kid anymore, but the kid from Bates Motel
Oh.
who's in The Good
Oh my
Doctor
god, I
now.
know his name too. And the second you said it, it wiped it from my head. Because he's Charlie in the Chocolate
Yeah,
Factory.
but he was
Oh.
giving off those vibes hard in the third episode when he gets
Freddie
into.
Highmore,
There it
Attempted
is.
Universe.
I was gonna say Freddie something.
I love when it's like it's something that and then the second somebody's like, "Oh, I'm not sure," it like wipes it from your brain too.
You just can't even do it. I hate that. But anyway, I once he gets into the more kind of darker, mischievous stuff in that third episode, I started getting some Highmore from him, and Highmore will do that same thing where the further into the series, the further gone his psychology is, he'll he can turn that on and off just like this kid can.
Mhm.
If you've never seen that
Yeah.
show, you should.
I haven't. I don't really know him for Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I'm just imagining Mike
Yeah,
TV like sneaking him a knife and then he kills uh, the bratty girl.
that show uh, is real goofy in its way. Like you can't take it completely seriously, but that's part of the charm of it. And that last season is I'm a little back and forth on like some of their choices, but it doesn't completely not stick the landing. Like they didn't fumble the football completely. Like it's all right. But
Yeah.
that first season is dynamite. Like it stays decent all the way through. I don't know. I like that show a lot. It's
Yeah,
in
no, at some point I should watch
that's
it.
in a lot of that's a lot of ways what Smallville should have been. Like you watch that as a prequel reimagining, and it's like showing up Smallville by three rungs in every aspect. It's great.
Well, I think doesn't that and Hannibal start like around the same time, or
Yeah,
like within like a couple years? Yeah, I thought so.
yeah, and uh, certainly Hannibal is probably the better show. I've only seen the pilot. I need to finish that at some point too.
Yeah,
But
no, I
it
should
didn't
check
get
out
an
both of
ending.
them.
The Bates Motel's better because it ended, but it's not actually better.
They at
But
least got to adapt Red Dragon. They were about to get to Silence of the Lambs, but we
yeah,
didn't get there.
yeah, and Bates Motel gets to do its own Psycho.
Yeah, that's one of the only things I know about that show is that Rihanna plays Marion,
Yeah,
and
and
I was like,
she's
that's
good.
weird casting. Oh, okay.
It was, but she's good. But they go their own way with it.
Mhm.
It's not the exact same story, which I respect a lot.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I was at the mall the other day and I saw the Psycho 4 movie set for like $20 and then didn't buy it because I was like, I'm just buying it for two, really. And then Robert like really judged me on it. And he was like, no, 3 is fun too. So now I'm like, I should go back and get it.
What is 4, the remake, or was there a 4?
And there was a 4, yeah,
Oh,
but
okay,
I don't think it's with Perkins. Like I think it's a different actor
okay.
maybe, but I could be wrong.
It was just direct to video. It was made in 2005.
I
I'm
want
just
to say
kidding.
it might be a TV movie, but yeah, maybe.
Slipmaker says, I've heard Bates Motel is good, but no way it tops Hannibal. Yeah, I'm sure not. I only have the pilot to go on. Hannibal gets an ending, he says, then they do an end tag after, even though they should have known it was over. I didn't know that. I thought it was just not done. But I guess,
It's
wasn't that show supposed to be in, like, full season arcs, so you would kind of have an ending each time?
That's what I'm gonna guess because like obviously Red Dragon has an ending, so I'm gonna guess it probably ends like that.
Okay.
But also because it's so about Hannibal Lecter and the detective from Red Dragon, who then is not in the rest of the books. I could easily see that as being an endpoint, and then I'm guessing the kind of tag is like, and now here comes Clarice, and it's probably like just somebody saying it like, oh, Dr. Lecter, Clarice is coming to meet you.
Which is hilarious because then she gets her own stupid prequel show.
Her own stupid prequel show. No, I think it's actually a sequel show, but they
Is
also
it?
didn't have the right. I think so, but they didn't have the rights to Hannibal
I
Lecter.
know. They can't even.
But it
Can they
would
not
have
even
to.
reference him?
I don't think so. But it would have to be a sequel show, I would think, because she's just like a student in Silence of the Lambs. So like, I would think that it would have to be
Well, I
after.
thought I read a synopsis of that where it was prequel, and I was like, where's the story in this? Like, she hasn't done anything. I don't know. You might be right, but I wouldn't put anything past Alex Kurtzman.
That's true. If anyone's seen Clarice,
Oh,
which is the greatest show of all time, please let us know.
we're gonna look this crap up right here.
Beautiful. I'm actually looking at my copy of Silence of the Lambs, the book, right here.
Can I tell you the
But
thing that shocks me most about this?
what's that?
This was 2021. I thought this was a couple of years ago. That
It
show
was
happened
technically a couple of years
4
ago.
years ago. No, I know, but I thought it was like 25. I thought it was like last year or the year before. Like, I didn't remember this
Oh, I
was
see what you're saying. I see what you're
21.
No, that show's like long gone. Like it's come out and been canceled already.
Kids have graduated from high school.
It's true. Kids have
Austin,
grown up watching Clarice.
he got 1 season.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it got 1 season. Everybody hated it, and then they canceled it.
Well, of course. There's no way. I mean, I hate to judge stuff before I've seen any of it. There's no way that's good.
Let's do it. Let's watch it.
There's no
Let's
chance.
review it. Oh, that's right, Daniverse. That's what Robert told me. Perkins is in Psycho 4, but Henry
saw his
Thomas plays a
comment, yeah.
younger Norman. That's right.
Uh,
Man, Henry Thomas
you're right.
is like a
This-
weird history with that.
This is a
then, 'cause he's
sequel show, so they can reference Buffalo Bill. But Sorry, I'm reading this. Hannibal Lecter is mentioned in the synopsis for this first episode, but I don't know if they actually say his name of the show.
I want it to be like, Clarice, did anybody help you catch Buffalo Bill? No. Okay.
Yeah, because it says she has a bad reputation at the FBI for associating herself with Lecter. So that means that if they can't reference him, they have to dance around it. And just say, like, that serial killer man. Or whatever.
There's that doctor.
That doctor.
He's out there.
I love that this show is so little appreciated that whoever is writing the wiki for this can't even be bothered to do episode synopses for every episode.
That's like, beautiful.
It has it for most of them, but 3 and 4, nothing, just the titles.
Oh, and it's in the middle, so it's not even like the last couple.
No, and then 5 through 13 have them. Not 3 and 4.
We need to bring back Hannibal for another season with Clarice. We need to merge them.
Oh, God.
Clarice has to come in and meet her Hannibal Lecter.
Austin, I'm wrong. 8 and 9. 8 and 9 also don't have synopses.
I just love that they're random middle ones. It's not like just at a certain point nobody cared.
It's so strange.
Did the person who was filling that in like skip episodes?
like in their viewing? I don't actually know what happens in 8 and 9.
That episode's a dumb title. I'm not watching that episode.
That's great. Well, some of them have really long synopses, and some of them are like 2 sentences.
Oh, Slipmaker says that Lee Pace was going to be Buffalo Bill on Hannibal. That would have been really good.
Now, how many seasons did that get? 3 or just 2?
I think 3. But I could be wrong. I think 3, because I think 4 was supposed to be Silence.
Slipmaker says the showrunner did Pushing Daisies with Lee Pace. Who made that show? Because I thought that was what's his name? The guy that Brian Fuller. I thought that was a Brian Fuller show.
I think he's at least like one of the people on it. Yeah, but I also thought the guy who did the Punisher show was one of the people on it too. So maybe they both like just worked on it together and like. Oh no. Yeah, Daniver says it's Brian Fuller.
Oh, I didn't remember that Fuller created Pushing Daisies. That's what I was thrown off by. See, Barry Sonnenfeld made that show, and I thought he was the showrunner. I thought he created it. I didn't realize that it was actually Fuller that created it. But Sonnenfeld directed at least some of it.
Oh, weird.
I just always think of that as a Sonnenfeld show. And if you know any of his work, and then you look at how that show was shot, like you'd be able to tell it's him. Yeah. Like, just based on Men in Black and Addams Family and even the Patrick Warburton Tick show, like, you could tell.
Yeah. I actually forgot he did Addams Family.
Yeah, he made that.
Does he do the sequel as well, or just the first one?
I think he does do Values. I'll check that, though. I'm not sure. But I think so.
I haven't seen those in a long time.
Now we're just talking about other things again.
This is random things.
That's how the show
Not even really goes. Any correlation.
Yeah, it was Sonnenfeld.
Okay.
And then those being all right. And then there was a direct-to-video third movie. Do you remember what it was called? Here's a little trivia question. I didn't even know there was a third one. Yeah.
With the same cast or like some?
No, completely different cast. I think everyone is recast for that. Pretty sure.
Okay.
I never saw it. Do you know what it's called?
Is it Addams Family Reunion?
Yes, it is. You nailed it.
I was like, okay, it's got to be like a really crappy title. What's it gonna be? It's got to be Reunion. That's like one of those titles we go to.
Oh yeah, and I forgot who Gomez was in that. Gomez was Tim Curry in that movie.
Weird.
Yeah, that's a choice.
I mean, he's probably a lot of fun in it, I would think. I would hope.
And Daryl Hannah was Morticia. I don't even see that. Like, what?
No,
Okay.
I don't see that at all. That's really weird.
What a strange choice. Anyway.
Uncle Fester is some hobo they found outside the set. They're like, "Oh, you look like Uncle Fester. Come on in. We don't even have to put makeup on you."
Hold on, just stand there and let us put a light bulb in your mouth. Yep, you're cast.
Ah, there you go.
You look great. Well, anyway, anything else you want to say about Adolescence real quick?
No, I mean, it's a really good show, especially since it's newer. Like, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's very captivating.
How do you feel about the possibility of a sequel, of a second season? Because they're in potential talks for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So if they do that, anthology.
Yes.
Like, I don't continue this story.
That's just what I was going to say. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
And then it probably won't take off as well because it's anthology, but I feel like that's kind of the only way to go.
Yeah, like, would you want to see the other side of it, where like you attempt what we were talking about, like the girl killer?
You could, but then it's just American Psycho 2, and it's like, let's not do that.
It'll just
but that does have William Shatner in it, so get William Shatner in the second season.
Well, I was gonna say let's make it Speed 2, where it's adolescents on a boat.
It's basically American Psycho 2. It's not on a boat, but it has Shatner, who's been on types of boats.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm sure he was in a Love Boat episode. Everybody was.
Yeah. Well, a starship's like a type of boat.
Anyway, next week, we're gonna be doing the film Edge of Tomorrow, which was requested by Darren Dooley, and is one of those rare picks that Austin and I have actually both seen already. But it's been a long time. I only saw that the one time in the theater and reviewed it. I'm pretty sure we have a review on the channel, but we'll do it again, looking at it years later. Maybe I didn't talk about that on the channel. I can't remember, but I know I saw it.
I want to say that you did, but I could be wrong. I want to say there's a Brick background review of that.
Remember that? Remember how sometimes the brick was real brick and sometimes it was fake brick?
Yeah, that's the best part. No, it blew my mind when you were like, go back and look at Brandon in them, and I was like, oh my god, he used to have hair in some of these Brick videos.
He did.
This is crazy.
Okay, that was not a Brick Wall review, but it could have been. It was from that era, but for some reason we did it in front of just a Batcave background. With just
I mean, that breaks my heart that there's no bricks, but...
There's no bricks, I don't know why. Well, we did that early enough that we might have just not been doing the bricks yet. I'm not sure. Although I thought the first one was on bricks.
No, because I want to say Carrie, the remake of Carrie review you did is bricks, and that's before that movie.
Okay. You know what the very first one of those we did was? Do you remember?
See, you're gonna say it, and I'm gonna feel really stupid because I'm gonna be like, I do remember this, but
the first review with the signs. And it was me. And what's funny is that show was usually me and Brandon. The first episode we had Vince with us too.
Oh, so it was you, Brandon, and Vince.
Yes. And we had the signs and the boards. And it was Lone Ranger.
Oh, I was thinking Lone Ranger. I'm like, it's got to be like 2013. What's out in 2013? I'm like, it could be Lone Ranger, but I feel like it's probably something after. Okay. I'm glad I at least thought of it. I'm guessing that was a triple red.
No, Vince flipped green.
Oh, okay.
I remember
Man
that.
of my heart.
Anyway, we're gonna go on. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Austin, thanks for watching a 4-hour thing. I'm glad it was, as you said, captivating because we didn't have to spend 4 hours with it.
Yeah, like I said, it didn't feel like it, so that's always nice.
No, this wasn't one that I wanted to split up. I actually was invested enough that if I had not been tired, I would have watched it all the way through, I think.
Yeah, I actually, because I had enough time to watch episode 3, but I was out and I just had it like downloaded on my phone, and I was kind of like, like kind of sucks I have to wait to get to episode 3.
It looks great on a larger screen, by the way. I projected it last night. It's a good looking show.
Yeah, I bet it's very cinematic.
Anyway, good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Austin and I are going to be back tomorrow night for Madam Web on the Superhero Review and Commentary Project. So look forward to that. I hope everybody comes out for the greatest superhero movie of 2023.
Well, Cap, I've seen Into the Future, and not only will they come out to watch it with us, but they're going to watch it twice.
Oh, God. Are they going to be able to be in multiple places at the same time while they're watching it?
No, they're just going to watch it twice. Back to back.
Oh. Well, that's a dumb thing. Don't do dumb things.
Yeah, don't do stupid things. Come on now.
Anyway, if
Pepsi's out for that one, guys.
Also, real quick, if you'd like to make a request on the ReQuest, patreon.com/geekvolution, the $15 tier, we are knocking these down, and we've only got, I know this sounds like a lot, but for us, we've really whittled it down. There's only 11 on the list right now. Actually, I think there's one I'm missing that I got recently that I need to throw in there, so it's probably 12. But anyway, a movie or the first couple episodes of a TV show or miniseries length comics we will tackle on the ReQuest for you. And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan. This was Austin the Day Ghost. See you later, folks.
Good night, everybody. I hope you were impressed by our one-take show.
Yes, we didn't make any cuts anywhere like we normally do.
Exactly. And this is actually our 6th take.
So we only do these as 4 takes, but you just watched our 6th take out of 4 takes.
Exactly. Good night, everybody.